All right, everybody, welcome. We're excited to have you with us this Tuesday morning slash afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm going to run through the legal disclaimers, and then I have an exciting sneak peek at something coming to Trade Machine, ideally very soon. Within the next month is when we're expecting to launch this. Probably sooner than that, but within the next month. So let's run through the disclaimers. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell any security ever. This is not advice. You should read the characteristics and risks of standardized options. The results here are provided for general informational purposes as a convenience to the viewers. The materials are not a substitute for obtaining professional advice from a qualified person, firm, or corporation. Trading futures and options involves the risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to your financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors could lose more than their initial investment. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results, and the risk of loss in trading can be substantial. So carefully consider the inherent risks of such investments in light of your financial condition. All right. And before I hand it over to Max, I am excited to give you guys the first look at the newest thing coming to Trade Machine. So as you know, we've been working pretty consistently over the last few months to grow and develop the Learn tab to be something that's super functional and really easy to find information. But there are still some opportunities there, and there are definitely ways that we knew that we could get you the information and in a more effective way. So our team has been working with AI and machine learning to develop new AI trade machine assistant. So with this, I have personally been testing it against a lot of support related questions to see with your guys' words exactly what comes. And it has been absolutely fantastic. So we are in the final stages. This is kind of a rough draft of what it's going to look like. But the one thing that I can tell you is that it is super, super powerful. The one thing that got me very, very excited about this was I had a user that specifically asked for a video referencing something that Ophir had said in a video that was from, I believe, around 2021. Normally, I have to remember content and go find it for you, but I plugged in exactly what he was looking for and was able to find the video in less than a minute. So all you have to do is throw in a question. So let's say, how do I get started Trade Machine? And it's going to sometimes give you more options. So let's say we want to get started with backtesting, and it's going to go through and find you not only a detailed response, but link you directly to the articles and any videos, transcripts that we have on that subject. Additionally, made it easier to access our Ask GPT tool. So this is going to have the Ask GPT tool built in. So you can come to one place and get your, and of course, it's not saying you might sign in, but get your Ask GPT questions answered as well. So this is going to be, like I said, first iteration, but it is going to be extremely powerful. And we are dedicated to continuing to grow this so that it makes your guys' lives so much easier. And you have just yet another resource in addition to the community, in addition to the support email, that you can get answers to the way that you would prefer. So I am super excited to get this in your guys' hands and see what your feedback is. But I will tell you that I've been really, really pleased with the results. And I think I tend to be the biggest critic on stuff like this. So I'm super excited to get it in your hands. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and let Max run with his presentation for today.
Oh, that was cool. All right. Today, we'd like to briefly speak of the ProScan tab, which you can access from the Today tab. And then we're going to talk about a quick pre-earning diagonal follow-up. And then we're going to answer questions. So to get to the ProScan, we'll all you need to do from the Today tab is just click on ProScan. And there are two ways to use the ProScan: by ticker, which is what we're going to do today. I'm interested in Google. I don't currently have a position, but I like to be long Google. So I'm just going to move these little boxes out of the way. And I'd like to see what of our strategies have been doing well 1 year and 2 years ago. All right, so 2 years in. And I have selected some filters on the ProScan. I want a minimum win rate just by clicking on filter scans. Minimum win rate of 66 basically. The minimum average trade return of 10%. I want double digits. Minimum total backtest return. I'd like to see 50% or better for that. All right. And so that's selecting a ticker, or I could just put a comma after this and add other tickers. And it'll give me all the strategies that are doing well, that meet my filtered scan requirements. And then what you can do is, if you look across, you can decide to bring to the top, for example, the largest average trade return and say, oh, 3 inside and up works with Google. I'm definitely going to add that alert if I don't have it already. Bullish technical momentum long call. Whatever strategies you're interested in, you can see all of the key stats, and then you'll see some Amazon and you'll see some Apple eventually. Yeah. Okay, so it comes up so fast because it's not calculating every one of these different strategies for the stock that you've picked at this exact time. It does it frequently, and it keeps a database. So if we're interested in 3 in and up for Google, for example, which has 2 wins and 0 losses in the last year. Earnings, by the way, coming up on July 23rd, so I'm not going to implement anything today. But I'd still like to see it and add the alert if I like the current backtest. So to get to backtest on this strategy for a stock that you're interested in, you click on that row and it'll take you to the backtest tab, and it'll run the strategy 3 in and up with the RSI less than 60 and the stock less than EMA 21. It's not active today. But as we all know, the first thing we have to do is look at the end date and make sure that's current. So let's look at the 2-year results. We'll see the end date is now today's date, July 16, and it's 2 and 1. Still good, still acceptable as an alert. I would definitely add this. I happen to know that I already have it, so I'm not going to go through that process, but I take a quick look at the 1-year results. All right. Good thing I looked at the 1-year results. It's gone negative. There's only one occurrence, but it was a loser. That's a strikeout for me. I would not add this alert to my personal alert database. So we'll eliminate that. We'll go back, and if I wanted to continue the process, I would look for another occurrence. Let's see if we have something. Let's look at Amazon. I haven't looked at this strategy in a while. Amazon, 1 day after earnings. We don't have a verified date for earnings yet, but let's take a quick look at that from the ProScan. Just clicking on it, take us to the back test. This was updated yesterday, but I like the end date to be the current date, so I'll reset anyway. 3 and 0 on 2 years. Let's check that 1 year, make sure we have consistent results. All right, there were no occurrences in the last year, which is okay. I won't eliminate it if there's no occurrence. Go back to the 2-year. Like this, I will click on the add. Well, let me just show you the custom strategy. All right, there is no custom strategy. We're getting long the 50 delta put, and we're doing that custom earnings 1 day after the earnings event, closing it 14 days later. As you can see up here in the upper right, we're using 21 DTE options, or closest to, and we're only taking this trade if the last earnings, the stock move was down 3%. All right, so those are the custom earnings conditions. There are no other technical open conditions. I like the results, so I will go to the add alert button, and Amazon days after earning 1, and it already has the notes set for me. I don't have to customize the notes. make sure the last earnings was down by at least 3%. And I will move this box down a little bit more. And I'm going to add the alert. And you'll see the alert is created. All right. So that's how I use the ProScan to get a head start on strategies that are performing well, in this case, in the last 2 years. And then looking in the back test to make sure that its current results are holding up, and then adding an alert and moving forward with the rest of my trading day. So we can delete that. Let's see, we can delete that. And the other thing that I want to highlight is that if you go to the Learn tab and click search for ProScan, you get this excellent article and video. It's an excellent video by our CTO, Jason, and it'll take you through step by step the ProScan and all of its capabilities. I just highlighted one way where we have a stock or a few stocks that we want to see what strategies are currently working, and then we fine tune it by throwing it in the back tester by just clicking on the row and making sure that the current results are holding up. But there's an excellent article in the Home tab, and I'm sorry, in the Learn tab. And here are the major categories of the Learn tab. And it's very easy to get to. Learn tab right there. Click on that, and that should take you back to this, the home screen of the Learn tab. I don't need this tab so it doesn't confuse me, or that one. Okay, so I want to go to the Today tab, the second part of what I wanted to cover before we get into Q&A. I was asked in community a couple of times to quickly review how I analyze the pre-earning 14-day diagonal now that we're in earnings season to find an acceptable stock with tight enough bid-ask for the options to take the trade. And I have two examples I just very quickly want to go over. One is this SPGI. We're going to need my trading software for this. So I guess that's a new share, and go there, share. Wow, modern technology. So I think it was SPSI. First thing I do when I see an alert with good results on the Today tab. Okay, what was it? Hold on. SPGI. My apologies. SPGI. Now, this does have weeklies. That's very encouraging. So we want, for this long call diagonal around the earnings event, we want closest to 14 DTE for the long and closest to 7 DTE for the short. In this case, it would be 17 and 10. So the first thing that I do is look at the 17 DTE. For my long, which is closest to 50 delta. Now, this is an $86 stock. So for me, I'm looking 50, 60 ticks wide on the bid ask. But in this case, I've got 220 tick wide on the bid ask, 260 tick wide on the bid ask. This is not acceptable as an option trade as far as I'm concerned. And I would eliminate that SPGI from contention as a potential trade that I will take at near the end of the day. So without switching screens again, I'll take a look at the other example that I reviewed earlier this morning, SWKS. You'll have to trust me, it's on the Today tab. Yes, and once again, it's got weeklies, very good. I'm looking at the 17 and the 10. You'll notice that my Tasty Trade software does not have the correct earnings date. It's not verified yet, but CML TradeMachine does have the best service. They use the best service for displaying the earnings dates. So I rely on that. So I'm going to look at the 17-day, and I'm going to look around the 50 delta. And this is 30 tick wide for a 100 stock, 190 stock. It's not great, but it's on the fringe of being acceptable. So let's say take that. I want to be long the 120, and then look at the 10-day. And I now look at the 30 delta for the short, and that's going to be the one's only 5 ticks wide. You'll see that it varies from 15 to 5 to 20, 10, but this is tight enough. So I will sell 123 and have to move this because I can't see what I want to display. Sorry about that. I don't know if you can see my Zoom controls or not. It's 305 at 340, not great. It's the three. The width of the diagonal is only 300 points. So this would not be an acceptable diagonal for me. I like the debit that I'm paying to be slightly less than the width of the two strikes of the calls, the long call and the short call. So we'll clear that. I'll go back, and what I will do for SWKS is I will try this again with the 119 long, oops, excuse me, with the 119 long call, and then go to the 10 and go down to the 120 again. It's 368 for a 400 point wide diagonal spread. That's acceptable to me. I'm not going to go in at the midpoint. These markets are a little on the wide side, so I would go in at like 350 and see if the spread market tightens up. But I'm not going to do this now because it's not close to 345, which is when I like to take these trades, making sure they're still active. So that was really the second part of what I wanted to highlight before we get to Q&A. All right, so let me move this back down.
Max, when you get back to TradeMachine, do you want to show them how you verify at the end of the day or near end of day if it's still active from the Today tab?
Yep, I will do that in 1 second once I do my new share. Whoops. Okay, what happened? Scared me for a second. Try that. All right, do you see the Today tab?
I do.
Beautiful. Down to pre-earning 14-day diagonal. So let's look at this SWKS. Click on it, and it'll take you to its back test, and you'll see that it is still triggered as of 2:20, which is the current time this afternoon. EDT has good results. The end date is today. I like this trade. If I can get it at a reasonable price, as we were talking about earlier, I will check this again at 340, try and take the trade. All right?
Thanks.
Okay.
For anyone that's new that doesn't understand the reference to TradeMachine uses end of day pricing for all entries and exits. So that's why he's referencing that time. If you want to follow the back tester as closely as possible, that's what you would do. Not all of our TradeMachine users do that and wait till the end of the day to place their trades. But if you want to follow the back tester as closely as possible, that's the reason you would use it.
Yeah. We have people who can't sit in front of the screen all day or in the last half hour of the trading day. So they might take this trade if it's still triggered at 1 o'clock. And then just for completeness, while I still have the screen up, because I'm a platinum member, which means I pay an annual basis, I will also get a suggestion from TradeMachine of the actual strikes to use for the trade. So I'll click on that, and it's going to say, I understand the information shown is not a recommendation. It's just a suggestion. And they went slightly differently. They went same expirations, but they went 121, 120. I said, just a suggestion. I usually take a quick look at their suggestion, but then I look at the option chains and decide for myself what trade I'm going to take. Okay.
You ready
All right.
for some Q&A?
Yep. Hopefully I can answer them.
Well, the first one's going to be in reference to the ProScan tab again. How can we use technical state?
How can we use what?
Technical state. I could actually answer that if you'd like. So
Okay.
technical state only applies to certain technical conditions. So if you could load up the ProScan tab for me again and go by strategy and select any of the squeeze or the mammoths with any group of tickers.
Okay, let's
This
do
is
the
one
Dow.
example.
I did the Dow 30 just to.
So this is going to be where your technical state comes into play. It's there to let you know when it's approaching the squeeze or when it's in the squeeze. A lot of times this will change to that particular column will change to the move based on the last earnings date when you're using an earnings strategy because the technical state doesn't apply. But if neither of those apply, technical state remains, but it ends up blank. So in the examples that he was showing earlier, the technical state did not apply. That's why it was blank.
Right. Right.
All
Thank you.
right. Continuing with the ProScan tab, which scan triggered most recently?
Let's see. I don't think there is a last trade column, is there?
That's correct. So the ProScan tab was designed to help users build their alerts portfolio. So these are not considered currently active trades. Therefore, that's not super necessary without you going to the backtest tab and reviewing. Because kind of the expectation is that you go to the backtest tab and you review the strategy before you save it as an alert. And there you would see which scans triggered most recently. This is more to get an idea of how it performs as a strategy overall during different backtest wins.
Right. I mean, if you're really interested in the more current ones, then I would leave the 1 year time period on and I would take off the 2 year and the 3 year. And for that strategy, we had nothing in the last year. But that's what I would do to hone in on the more recent alerts with good results.
I would agree with that. All right. Will TradeMachine show you if you add an alert for a specific ticker and it's already in your alerts list, or does it create a second alert in your list?
If the conditions for opening and closing are the same, it will overwrite, and you have an existing alert, it'll overwrite the existing one with the latest one. You won't have two alerts, you'll only have one, and it'll be the one that you've just added today.
Correct. All right. What is a reasonable bid sell that you will take the trade?
Depends on the price of the stock. If it's a $50 stock, I'd like the bid ask of the options and the expirations that I'm interested in be between 5 and 8, 5 and 10 ticks wide for the bid ask. If it's $100 stock, I'd like it to be between 10 ticks and 15 ticks between the bid and the ask. But those are only starting points. Sometimes, since I do mostly spreads, because I like to have a balance between what I'm long and what I'm short, I will consider slightly wider than the numbers that I just gave out, especially if the spread trader narrows in that bid-ask spread. But you can't really tell until you throw it into your trading software and look at the bid-ask and the mid and see how tight that is as a spread. But my starting point is always I look at the price of the stock, I divide by 10, and that's my starting point. I'd like it 5, maybe no more than 10 ticks wide, as I said before. Just a ballpark. Sometimes I don't have that luxury. If it's a CML stock that I want to get along, I'm dealing with wide markets, and I'll just look at the bid ask and decide what I think a reasonable price is. My trading software has a theoretical value. I'll look at that and build my spread price that way. And then I'll just let my order sit, even if it takes days. But I don't do that for short-term trades.
The next question is not super clear. I'm going to do my best to understand what they're saying, but it says, my question is for stock options. You guys use artificial intelligence and he treat himself every day. I think it's asking if we scan with AI every day. And if that's the question, then yes.
Yep.
The Today tab does check for any AI triggers every single day for every single strategy. You can also use it to check in the backtest tab. And if you have any alerts set with AI, it is going to be scanning with AI there.
Okay. Let me just, before you continue, let me just load up a sample alert that we have received today. And you'll see that here's the conditions for this trade, taking a long strangle. But the reason why I loaded up the backtester is I want to look at the technical open conditions that are available and highlight that we have 4 that are AI related. Kurtosis 1 year, kurtosis 6 months, return asymmetry or skewness 1 year, and return asymmetry 6 months. All right. So we have 4 technical open and technical close conditions that use the AI strategy that Fear and TradeMachine team have developed.
And if you're unfamiliar with those measures in general, we have extremely, extremely detailed explanations of skew and kurtosis and like overall view of what the AI does in the Learn tab.
Right.
So
So
if
I'm
you
in the
haven't
Learn tab.
reviewed those,
I'm in
go
the
right.
I'm in the Learn tab right now, and it's on the home page. It's one of the major categories, AI and trading using skew and kurtosis. So I'm going to click on it, right? And you'll see an article and some videos that will cover that subject in its completeness.
And there are links within, like where it says skewness and kurtosis, that is a clickable link that will take you to additional details in another area of the Learn tab. So anytime you see this with that hyperlink, it means that there's more to the story anywhere in the Learn tab. We try to keep it as linked as possible so that you guys can find all the information that you need. But hopefully soon you won't need to do all that extra work. You just ask the question. All right. The second question for you guys, you have a strategy for buy and sell, like what time to buy and what time to sell. So maybe buy the sell off is what they're referencing to. And then can you show what the open close on buy the sell off is?
I
That would be
certainly
my
can.
that would be my best guess.
Okay, let's see if we have, all right, we don't have anything in buy this sell off. I think I'd like to handle it this way.
Go right.
Let's take a look at this WKS, and you'll see that there's nothing here that says a profit limit or a stop limit. If you scroll down the left side of the back test, you'll see that in addition to technical open and technical close conditions, you can select the gains above, what I call profit limit, or losses above, and you put in percentages. You can also close the trade after a certain number of trading days. In this case, none of those are set, but this is diagonal special around earnings. This has custom earnings handling, which will close the trade, open it 14 days before earnings, and it'll close the trade regardless 1 day before earnings. All right. So that's one way that a trade closes. I highlighted you can set a profit limit and a loss limit and a number of trading days open as well. And let's see what else we have here. If we look at this AES, the long strangle, you'll see that this closes after 10 trading days, and it has a 20% profit limit as well. So it's a 14-day to expiration trade. So 14 DTEs are used closest to. And if we scroll down the left-hand side, you'll see that what we saw in the upper left, we're seeing as a profit limit 20% and close after 10 trading days. And now let's look at something like fade to dip. Because I think that has both. Let's look at ADP. Oh, I thought it had both. All right.
You could make it have both.
I could. Thank you, Amanda. Let's just make that 40. So we have a gains above 50% limit and a losses above 40% limit. And we let the trade run until the end of its expiration, unless it hits one of those two limits. So we'll see that, yes, the 40% stop is now there. The 50% limit is now there. This trade it was a better trade without the stop limit, but still slightly successful. And the total gains are still greater than the total loss. But those are the kind of, I don't remember the exact phrasing of the question, but I think that's what the person was referring to.
I believe so as well. I would also add that you can add a technical close. So if you wanted to close the strategy when the stock dipped below the 200-day moving average, for example, you can set a technical indicator for closing as well.
So we're going to close when the stock is below the SMA, and Amanda wants 200, and there you go. Now you'll see here are all the technical open conditions, and here's Amanda's stock below the SMA 200 closing condition. Still a decent trade, not something that I would take with those conditions, but still, 50% wins. Total gain is still better than the total loss. But here's looking at the open technical conditions, looking at a potential close, any limits, profit limits and loss limits, and there you go.
Yeah, and I would point out this is actually a perfect example of if the strategy that you're looking at doesn't necessarily fit your trading style, it's okay to go in the back test and test ideas. So I just pulled the below SMA 200 and we went from an 8% return to a 39.3% return. So you can test other ideas based on the existing strategy and see how it performs. Kind of make your own ideas. And you can save your own custom alerts based on those ideas as well. So you can be alerted when the conditions are met. You don't have to remember what you said. This is just a kind of we put out the strategies that have been proven to work in the past, and you can take it from there. And I guarantee Max will tell you that he has strategies that he's custom built. I know for a fact he has because he shared them on community that he has in his alerts. So that's one of the beauties of TradeMachine. A lot of other things will not let you customize to the detail that we do. All right, next question. Will there be a replay? Yes, there will. We generally send out the recordings. We try to do same day or next day. Generally speaking, it's the next day, but we do get it out pretty quickly. All right. Is it not best to use the show options?
You want my personal opinion?
I mean, we can't give advice, so I think they're asking for your personal opinion.
Okay. Yeah, you can't give advice. You're an employee. I'm an ambassador. Well, if it's not active, it's not going to show. It's not going to show the options. I always look at it to get a guideline to see what the computer or the system TradeMachine is suggesting, but I always fine tune it in my trading software. So if you're talking about the show options that would be here, did I save any of that? Okay, that's not active. There you go. So here are the show options. If you recall, I ended up going with the 119 for the long and the 123 for the short. If you go too far out of the money on the short, the amount of premium that you're selling becomes relatively insignificant, in my opinion. So that's why I like to look at it in the trading software that I'm using.
The only thing I would add is that this is based on the options that TradeMachine is going to use. So if at the end of the day, the trigger holds until the end of the day and TradeMachine then shows that trigger, this is the options that are going to be referenced in the trade details will be the exact ones here. Again, you can customize anything to fit your own trading style, but what we give you is going to be exactly how TradeMachine executes it. But that doesn't mean that it's 100% the right way. And it also doesn't mean anything because history doesn't necessarily indicate what the future is going to hold because everything changes in our world as we all see every day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. All it does is put the probabilities in your favor, but
exactly.
it's not a guarantee.
Exactly. All right. Next question. What is the best scan backtest tool for going long or short for stocks? No options.
I don't know that we have it on ProScan. Let's see, he says.
Honestly, I don't believe there is any stock strategies on ProScan. But where I would go personally is to the Today tab, to the notable technical breakout section at the bottom of Today. Those are all stock-based strategies. So if you scroll all the way down, these are all your stock-based strategies. And you can review, if you click the question mark, you are going to see the details of the strategy and you can review what is going to best fit your trading style. That's where I would start.
Yeah. I immediately went to, do we have that in ProScan? But you are correct.
But you can also build your own stock strategies in TradeMachine, as well as if you follow dollar cost averaging, you can dollar cost average in TradeMachine with technical conditions. So if that's something anybody is interested in learning more about in the future, we can definitely do a session on stock strategies in TradeMachine. Just email support, right?
Yep. You'll see in the backtest tab, you can click on stock, you can click on stock dollar cost average, and you can add all the technical conditions that you may or may not want.
In filter scans, can you request a minimum of wins? My concern is that 2-to-1 win-loss is not statistically significant. Can you show that again? I believe you did, but in ProScan, can you show where you can filter your wins in ProScan?
Whoops, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, filter scans, minimum trade, minimum backtest. You can select the win rate, so it's not going to eliminate a 2-to-1 for my 66% minimum. But what I would do is you can organize the results, the number of wins, and it'll give you the highest to lowest. And then you'll see, or you can, it's already filtering for the win rate for 66 or above. but you can also organize by this column and then have your own cutoff point. Or see that it's 100%, but it's only 3-0. You want at least 5 results. So then, you'd skip that, you go down and you'd look at 3M here at 83% win rate, but it's got 6 results, 5 wins, 1 loss. So I think that's the way you have to do it in ProScan.
That's probably the best way. I know a lot of people will go a little bit higher on the minimum win rate, like in 80% range to knock out some more. You can play with it a little bit and see what way works best for you.
Right, right. These
I
are my numbers. You can
exactly.
I can hit the clear filters and those numbers will now be blank and it'll recalculate with any of those conditions.
But yeah, if you're looking for a larger number of trades, you can definitely filter down based on the overall win rate first and then sort by number of wins so that you know that you have kind of a better threshold to feel
Right,
more significant in
right,
number of trades.
right. And then if you decide you want to add a filter after that, just click on this filter scans and there are those 3 categories once again. And you
Perfect.
can enter any percentage you like.
All right. Can you explain the active triggers on the Today page? Are these the best trades for the moment?
They're the best trades that meet all the conditions to be displayed on the Today tab. So where are you? Buy the dip, for example. To get on the Today tab, it has to have, as an alert, it has to have good results. And in addition, the trade machine looks for some extra conditions. I'm not sure. Are those extra conditions in the Learn tab?
They are. The extra conditions are going to be it has to have more wins than losses. It has to have good returns over 1 year and 3 year back tests, a win rate above 50%, I believe. But yes, all of those are listed out on the Today tab or the Learn tab. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's going to
so
be the second result there.
I'm going to do a search for Today tab alert requirements. Let's see if that anything still there.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're going to look down.
And it should be highlighted for you.
Okay, requirements. There you go. Right there. I got to
Right.
reread this.
But
All right.
that gives you the details. And also, there's a little video about the notable technical breakouts on the Today tab as well that we talked about a little bit ago.
Okay.
All right. We've got one more question here, and you might need to open a new screen for this one. So, last question here is what is Pattern Finder? I saw Ophir bring this up today.
I will open it up. I usually have it open and you can talk about it.
Yeah, of course. So, Pattern Finder is charting software that we offer. What you probably heard Ophir mention is that we are working on an AI addition to this as well that is going to do a chart analysis for you. Again, super cool what the team has been able to do with that. I've seen the beginning stages of it and just absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited to get it in your hands. But this ranges from you can just do trend lines, can slim patterns, but by far my personal preference is the stock screens. It has one of the most powerful screeners that I've ever seen. Not only have we pre-built stock screens in Pattern Finder, but you can build your own custom screens. And from there, you're able to tell it, I want X, Y, and Z as fundamentals. Say you want a certain market cap, or you want to use our proprietary buy sell rating, stock price. And from there, you can narrow it down. And I know we've had quite a few questions about this, so it may be coming very soon that we do how to use Pattern Finder with TradeMachine session again on one of these live helps. But by far my favorite way to use Pattern Finder with TradeMachine is to go in here and identify a scan that I want to use. Lately, I've been leaning towards bullish charts a lot. So I'll go in and I'll select bullish charts, and that's going to give me a list of tickers that I can then export, and I can find option strategies based on these using ProScan, just like Max just did, where I just drop in the tickers to see what option strategies pop up. And then I can analyze and add them to my alerts. That's kind of the long story short. And if it is something you guys are interested in seeing, please let me know. And I will make sure that we do a more thorough session that covers using Pattern Finder with TradeMachine, but that is kind of the overview. If you have any more specific questions, certainly reach out to support. We can get you more answers on Pattern Finder and get you more information in your hands and some videos. All right. We had a couple more come in, so we'll go through those. Can you do searches and scans using kurtosis and skew for different periods to find out what works best? In TradeMachine right now, skew and kurtosis are available for 1 year and 6 months. There are not any other time frames for
6 months.
those as
6 months.
they're with the AI component.
6 months.
Skew and kurtosis?
Yeah. There are two different categories. Kurtosis 1 year, kurtosis 6 months. Return asymmetry, which is skewness 1 year, return asymmetry 6 months. Are we saying the same thing or am I misunderstanding?
Nope. You said the exact same thing I did, just with visuals, which is always helpful. So thank you.
Okay. I thought you only said 1 year. If I didn't hear the 6 month part, I apologize.
1 year and 6 months. That is correct.
Ah.
All right. And last one, we scan using RSI. And
I don't think that's on the Pro Scanner. I don't think that's a strategy.
I don't believe for ProScan it is. There are some strategies that use RSI. You can use it in a TradeMachine. If you're asking in Pattern Finder, I don't believe there is RSI in the scanner. There are relative strength measures, but not RSI.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do it in the back tester, though.
You can definitely do it in TradeMachine.
Right, TradeMachine. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. And it is just a smidge before 3 o'clock. Does Pattern Finder have a website? Yes, it does. You can go to patternfinder.cmlviz.com. I'll put it in the chat real quick. We appreciate everybody coming and joining us and hanging out with us for the last hour. If you have any more questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to support or ask Max in community. I know we didn't get to talk about community today a lot, but community is a great value and it's included. So please get in there. Even if you're not going to participate and comment or post, you can find content that is going to be super beneficial to you. We have an amazing group of people in there that are always willing to help. So ask in community, ask in support. We are just here to help.
There you go. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. We will see you next Thursday. If you have any questions, just let us know. Have a great day. Bye.